My name's Peter Patton, and I'm a therapist at Healthy Thoughts Wellness Center in in Urbana, Illinois. And I also work at Family Services, Champaign County. I'm the self-help coordinator. And what we're going to talk about today is mindfulness and biofeedback and relaxation techniques. And this is my boss, Nancy.
Hi, my name is Nancy Newcomb, and again, I'm owner of a private practice in Urbana, full of therapists. We really concentrate on depression and anxiety, but we also do a lot of mindfulness, stress management, meditation, because we feel like it doesn't matter if you have an anger issue, if you're sad, if you have a relationship issue, bipolar, whatever it is, dealing with your stress is going to help both your mental and your physical health.
Yeah, and sort of how I got involved with this, I actually do biofeedback therapy. And the interesting thing is back in 1985, I had suffered a lot of injuries and medicine doesn't work for me. So the doctor I was seeing, why don't you try this new thing called biofeedback? Mm-hmm. So I went in and the machine was like half the size of a wall. And now it's a computer and two little boxes about this big that runs these programs. And what it taught me to do is to regulate my body and calm myself so I kind of didn't notice the pain. And I'm in a lot of pain, but I rarely think about it, because I'm constantly doing these different methods that we're going to do and practice with you today. I know my biofeedback machine has a couple electrodes, and it has, like, one of the exercises, there's a roller coaster, and if you calm yourself, the roller coaster moves, and if you get tense, it stops. So what we do is at the end we kind of go, what were you feeling, or how did you get it to move? And that's really important.
Yes, we've originally bought the biofeedback machine for people to help them ward off panic attacks. Now, when you get upset, then you get to a point, unfortunately, a point of no return, and that's when you're going to go into a panic attack. But we know that when we can teach people to kind of, I would say, Deepak Chopra would say, feel yourself from the inside out, then we can ward off panic attacks by helping people to realize symptoms back here that they can stop before they get to the point of no return. What's been a really big surprise, and for Pete and I, is we've also learned that there's many other clients that can really benefit from biofeedback. And one thing is, younger people that are gamers really like having an opportunity to move something just by their heart rate, right? Just like he's talking about whether the roller coaster will stop or not. So it really teaches them patience, and they really like that they get an opportunity to see what's going on inside of an outside view of a laptop. So to have that control of just my breath is controlling what is going on the screen is very exciting for many youth. So just as the point of no return for an anxiety attack, we've also found with some youth with some rage problems that there's also a point of no return, unfortunately, for acting out behavior. So acting out behavior for an adult could be drugs, it could be sex, it could be various things. And for teenagers and young people, it's the same way. It might be throwing a remote control, kicking a cat, running away, these sort of things, getting violent. And so when we teach the youth using this electronic piece that they like to calm down, they are able to ward off acting out behavior in fits of rage often.
Mm-hmm. And since I'm the only senior in the room today, I do a lot of work with seniors too, and it can help with loneliness, depression, anxiety, anger, pain control, even things like incontinence they have used this for. And all that mindfulness is, I'm going to give you a real simple definition. It's just learning how to concentrate, relax, and focus on the moment. And when I say the moment, and I'm going to give you a little example here of just a little exercise that I do with my clients, and I still do this. I have this little stone. This was actually the first gift my son ever gave me when he was about 3 years old. So what I'll do is I'll give this to a client and I'll say, just close your eyes. So I give it to him and I say, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to feel it. Is it smooth? Does it have cracks? What is it shaped like? Even what it smells like. Even had somebody who put it in their mouth one time. They wanted to know what it tasted like.
Then it was sanitized.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I let them, really do this for about 3 minutes. And then I take it back and I say, okay, describe to me what the object looked and felt like. And they'll say, oh, it was smooth, there were cracks, there was one end that was flat, the rest of it was round. And what
it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
They say it was stone.
Yeah, stone. And what this does is for the time that they were thinking about this object, they weren't thinking, oh, I've got bills to pay.
That's right.
Or my Social Security payment didn't go into my checking account this month. Mm-hmm. And that's the key thing about learning how to focus. And we have a ton of techniques that we can talk about. I still use this even though I know what it's like. Some days when I'm tense, I'll just get it out and I'll feel it. And I'll also think about the day my son gave this to me because it was a very special day. He was so serious. This was like the most important object he ever found. So I'm kind of thinking about that. I'm in the present moment, and it really helps calm me down.
Yes, and we know that when we reflect upon memories, we call this reminiscence therapy, which is just thinking about other memories, that our mind has certain things attached to that, like emotions, and they can be drawn up very quickly, okay? And so when Pete is holding that special rock that his son gave him and he's thinking about that, he's starting to spit out in his brain serotonin, dopamine, these feel-good hormones. So often people think, well, if, for example, there's a senior and maybe they're in a nursing home and they're afraid to bring up times where they were more fit and able to do something like fishing or running, and that it will hurt their feelings or cause them depression if you get them to engage to think about those past memories. The truth is that studies have been done on that, and that most of the time that is absolutely not true. That fear is unfounded. In fact, when you tell someone, even if they're older and they cannot go and do those things, what happens is their brain starts spitting out all of those feel-good memories. And again, that's called reminiscence therapy. So it really is good. They are not going to sit and cry, I can't do that anymore. It's helping them to relieve stress by thinking. And I'll go one step farther than that. It's also been shown where they start watching people's brain and what lights up and what hormones spit out, that it doesn't even have to be your memory, believe it or not, that they have taken people in assisted living homes and nursing homes, and they have shown them, say, a picture of a grandfather fly fishing with someone, or a little girl at grandma's house, and she opens the box, and there's little kittens in there, and aren't those little kittens cute? And she takes out the kittens, and they're so pretty, and even if they have never had a kitten or fly fished with their grandson, they still have this wonderful reaction inside their body, a physical and emotional reaction, right? Our mind, I always tell our clients, our mind can be our best asset or our worst enemy. And we work at our center with helping people to really get a handle on the power of the brain to lower their stress and increase happiness in their lives.
And I'm going to start a technique right now. It's called guided imagery. And what I want you to do is, sit in a chair, or you can recline in a chair and just relax all your muscles. And later I'm going to kind of teach you how you can relax your muscles. So I just want you to calm. I want you to breathe through your nose if you can, and slowly exhale through your mouth. And I'm going to describe a journey. And we're going to start as you're standing in a country road. And as you look down the road, there's fields on each side, and you noticed in the distance that there's a forest off to the right. Well, you look down and there's grass on each side of the road, and then there's grass in the middle of the road, but the areas in between are like this kind of silky, soft dust. And matter of fact, as you start walking down the road, each time you step, you notice little bits of almost like smoke drift up from the ground, and they kind of fall back down and coat your boots and your shoes. And you look up at the sky, and it's a beautiful blue sky, and there's white clouds slowly drifting, and you notice that some of them have shapes. There's one that looks like a rabbit, and then as you're watching, there's another one that kind of looks like a duck. And while you can feel the warmth of the sun on your face, there's a nice breeze, so you're not getting overheated. So you start walking down the road, and you notice to the right of the road that there's a fence. And it's a wire fence, and the posts are wood, and the wood is kind of old, and it's split, and it's dark with some gray spots, and there's the wire squares are like about 4 by 6, and they're rusting, and you can kind of look and see the flaky reddish brown starting to form on the metal. And when you look into the field, you notice there's some cows out there. They're black and white cows. And there's some calves there. And the calves are really curious. And as you're walking, they run up to the fence to look at you. And in the background, the mothers are baying because they're not real happy that the calves are coming up, but they watch you, and you notice that they've got, white faces with black spots. They've got these beautiful eyes that are looking at you. And you say hello, and it kind of startles them, and they turn around, and they kind of romp back to where their mom is. So as you keep walking down the road, you look at the other side, you notice there's a bunch of wildflowers. And as you're watching, there's bees and insects buzzing around there. And they're white, they're yellow, they're green, they're blue. It's just beautiful. And as you're walking along, when you look out across the field to the left, it's a clover field. So it's like yellow and green. It just kind of stretches into the distance. So you're walking, and you look up, and you see birds fly by, and you hear the screech of a hawk, and it's just circling in the sky, and you're watching it. And eventually it just kind of drops out of the sky and skims across the ground and goes out of sight. Well, you're walking, again, it's nice, the breeze is hitting you, you're just enjoying the sunlight, and just it's such a beautiful day. Well, finally you come to the forest. And as you're walking, you notice that there's a gate. And as you look through the gate, there's a path leading through the forest. And you decide to go ahead and walk down that path. So you open the gate, and again, it's an old wooden gate with thick metal holding it together, and it's rusted. And when you hit the latch and pull it back, it kind of creaks because it's just so old, and it obviously hasn't been used a lot. So you walk through, you shut the gate behind you, and you start walking through the forest. And the first thing you know, it's like you're entering this tunnel of branches, and you notice immediately that the air gets even cooler, and there's kind of like a greenish light that comes through in places like shafts of light. So you're walking along, and there's leaves and twigs in the path, and they kind of crunch as you walk by. And you can hear all kinds of animals and insects off into the forest. So as you're walking through, you can kind of see the end. It's like really bright. A rabbit comes out, hops in front of you, kind of looks at you, and then hops off real quick. and you look up and you see a squirrel and it's chattering at you. So you just walk through this beautiful greenish tunnel, just enjoying the coolness. Well, when you finally come to the end, suddenly you're kind of hit by bright sunlight, but it's not really unpleasant. And again, it's a cool day, and you hear a stream, and you can see it. So you walk toward the stream, and you find this little waterfall, and it's only a couple of feet high, but the water's trickling down, and it hits, and bubbles are coming up, and it's white, and then it slowly drifts away. Well, what you notice is there's a little rock next to it, and you decide to sit there, and you dip your hand into the water, and it's really cool, and you take it out and you kind of put it on your face, and it's just very cooling. Well, as you look up, there's leaves that are falling from the tree, and they fall and they twirl around, and it hits the water, and then it just floats away with the stream. Well, what you do is you're thinking, oh, you know, I need to go grocery shopping today, and it's kind of stressful because I have to drive or I have to take the bus. Well, you don't want to think about that right now. So as you take that idea and you kind of put it on one of those falling leaves, as it twists around, it hits the water, and then it just floats away, and your thought goes with it. And any kind of thought you have like that, that's sort of negative or causing you stress, put on one of those leaves, let it fall and hit the water and float away. So you sit there for a while, and again, you're enjoying the birds flying around. You see ground squirrels running around. You even look down and you can see little minnows swimming in the stream. Well, you sit there for a while, and it's time to go. So you get up and you turn back toward the forest. Okay, that is guided imagery. And what that does is people focus on the story, and they don't think about other things. Now, you can do that yourself. One of my favorite places on earth is Machu Picchu in South America. It's a lost city of the Incas. And I visited there several times, and in my mind, I'll sit there when I'm getting stressed, and I'll walk through everything. I take every step, and I notice every building. I also have a place where I grew up back in this pasture where there's a stream, and I'll walk from my house back through the pasture, by the lake, the stream. So it's very relaxing. Also, what you can do, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. A lot of my clients listen to somebody called The Honest Guys, and it's a guy named Rick Clark, and he has this really cool British voice.
Oh, yeah.
And I notice my female clients always ask to hear from Rick.
That's right.
But what we do, I am hooked up to the biofeedback machine, and they listen to this story, and he describes, like he has one, you go to a winter cottage, you're on the seashore, and it just eats it up, and it's a great way to relax. So would you like to do breathing next?
Sure. So one way to automatically kind of lower your blood pressure quickly is to just take a few deep breaths. Again, it's amazing the power of the breath, and they say, you know, in other cultures and other, places outside the U.S., boy, they know the power of the breath. And United States is way, way behind. We're just now catching up and realizing what other people have realized millions and millions of years ago, that there is so much power in just breathing. We take it for granted because it's just an automatic thing, but if we can slow it down, we can really change our physical health and stress levels. So if you want to breathe with me, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for a count of 4, and then we can hold for a count of 4, and then we can breathe out for a count of 6, okay? Now, you can do this just 3 to 5 times, And you'll find that that's a great thing to do during the day if you feel like your heart is racing a little bit, or you're feeling like a little bit jittery from the inside out, like maybe you've had a little bit too many cups of coffee, or you just heard some upsetting news on the phone, or you're trying to go to sleep and you need to calm down a little bit before going to sleep. This is a great thing to do, okay? So in through your nose and out through your mouth, and it's going to look like this. So we're going to breathe in. Okay, so you can kind of see how you feel. Again, it's in through your nose to a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale slowly to a count of 6. Now, when you're exhaling, you'll want to you don't want to go, which you can. I mean, there's different breathing techniques, right? But for this one, you're not doing that. You're kind of slowing down, learning to slow down your exhale. And so you're doing that by kind of pursing your lips, putting them together a little bit instead of, you're going, and you can literally feel that breath, right? You can feel your chest go up and down. You can feel your stomach go in and out, but you can literally feel it, and it goes all the way down. When I'm exhaling, it's like, and the last of it is like it's almost like a push right behind your pelvis, is the last little breath of air like coming out. All right, so hopefully you can try that at home and see if that lowers your blood pressure and lowers your stress. It's a great beginner technique.
Yeah, and I use 3 different breathing techniques. One is just simple breath counting, where you just 1, and you can count 20, you can count to 50 whenever you're stressed. The other one is 4-6 breathing, where you breathe in through your nose for 4 and slowly exhale for 6. And the most complicated one, it's one of the best, is 4-7-8 breathing. And what's interesting about that gets a good mix of CO2 in your system and oxygen, because CO2 gets rid of all the waste products. So you want to get a good balance. And when the trick when you exhale in 4-7-8 breathing is you put your tongue against where your front teeth meet your gums, and you breathe out. That one's the hardest one to do, and I would suggest the simplest ones first and work your way up. But I notice for pain relief, it's almost like 1969 for me all over. For you seniors, you'll understand what I mean by that. But it releases all kinds of good chemicals, and it really, if I can get the chance to sit and do that for 5 minutes, it really helps relieve anxiety and the pain. The other thing is, I don't know if some of you suffer from panic attacks, but I do. And like the other day, I freaked out in Chick-fil-A parking, or in their drive-through. It's like I felt trapped and claustrophobic. And
there's always a lot of people there.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm going to die before I get through this. So I almost had to get out of the truck, but instead I started doing my 4-7-8 breathing. And the key thing with these techniques, you want to learn to do it
before you're stressed.
Yeah, before you get stressed, or as soon as you feel it, you want to start it. Because I'm breathing, my wife said, "Are you uncomfortable?" And I said, "Why?" She says, "Because you're doing your breathing." It was just kind of like automatic. So it has all kinds of great benefits.
Yes, anything that you can practice when you're relaxed and calm is going to help you when you're more in times of trouble or anxiety, right? So you need to practice it as a preventative measure for overall stress. So when you're calm, you're going to breathe at home, and it's best to make it a habit. So the easiest way to make something a habit, and that's where it's going instead of the forefront of your mind, the conscious is going to be flipped to the subconscious, and that's when we've really created a habit, and that's when you get up and you're like, wow, it seems really strange if I don't run today because I've been running all the time. It's a habit, right? And breathing is just the same way. You can make that a habit. So I always suggest take a habit that you already have and then link a healthy habit onto it. So for example, if you have a regular nighttime routine that you sit down and have a cup of tea in the evening, that might be something that you link with breathing for 5 minutes, or after breakfast every morning, something again that you already do, and then now link a healthy stress management habit onto that.
Because what you want to do is, the body has some autonomic
Yes.
Systems, and one is the sympathetic nervous system, and that's your fight or fright. That's when you get tense. It's left over from the primitive part of our brain that helps us survive. Well, that increases your breathing. It pumps adrenaline into your system, and it really gets you ready. Well, what this breathing and different exercises, you kick in what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's like digestion, and it's the calming techniques, and it triggers the vagus nerve, which is I think it's the biggest nerve. It runs from your brain all the way down into your abdomen, and what you want to do is get that triggered to calm yourself.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things you can look up online about the vagus nerve. It's the longest nerve in the body that touches all the internal organs. And we know that when you, for example, you hear people chanting, now there's different sounds that they do for different reasons that do have meaning attached. But on top of that, did you know that chanting stimulates the vagus nerve? So I don't care if somebody's whistling or humming, a tune, or if they're chanting, it's actually stimulating the vagus nerve, which can help your overall health. There has been studies done of how much action the vagus nerve has, and people that have a higher number are often healthier in their overall health. So it's really a great thing to do. Breathing is one of those things too.
And it can also help for things like if you have Parkinson's disease, MS, these techniques can work. I have something called spinocerebellar ataxia. And as you can tell, sometimes I can't talk and pronounce things real well. And what these techniques do a lot of times when I'm with my clients and I realize I'm having a little trouble speaking, I'll do the breathing, the muscle relaxation, and it helps calm my brain where I can refocus and start pronouncing words more comfortably and clearer. So there's all kinds of applications.
Yeah, the whole thing to mindfulness, trying to focus and live in the moment, or meditation, having some practice that can lower your stress and help your brain have a break, because we know our brain doesn't have a break in the night, right? It's dreaming, it's playing around, it's doing other things. So really to have that calm is really important. And I think so many people in America are really yearning for mindfulness and meditation right now because of how society has changed. I mean, everything is so fast paced. It used to be that if your kids were playing baseball, they were playing right down the street with the other kids. And now we're taking our children all over, right, in leagues. It used to be that we all typically ate at home, and if we needed something, we would go to the neighbor for sugar. But now we're going all over the place. So there's not a lot of whittling wood, laying down and watching, what is the duck or the bunny can you find in the sky, rocking in the rocking chair and talking to our neighbors. There's not a lot of that now, and we really need that time to people watch, to watch the cars going by, to watch the clouds. And because we don't, due to our busyness, that's why meditation and mindfulness, I think, is such a big, hot topic. And when you learn it, you learn that there can be chaos around you, and yet in the calmness of your mind comes clarity and the best decision making that you can have in your life, right? It's self-control, and Deepak Chopra talks about this a lot. You can get a lot of his free stuff. He's an expert. I'd highly recommend that. You can download Spotify and listen to him. He's got several different daily I always want to say Daily Bread because of that Daily Bread book. But it's not Daily Bread, but it's called Daily Breath. But he has other things on podcasts and different shows. Really, really good stuff if you're looking for a place to learn to calm down and to not be so reactionary. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm going to do next is called progressive muscle relaxation. And the thing I should stress with this, if you do have some physical problems, you might want to avoid the area where it hurts. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of do the whole thing. And it's kind of interesting. First thing you do is you just kind of get comfortable again and you scrunch up your face for about to a count of 5. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what you do is you grin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then frown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax. So next is tilt your head all the way to your left shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now tilt it to your right shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And back to the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now tilt your head forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now tilt your head back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then your head forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I want you to hunch up your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now make a muscle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Now extend your hand out. Tilt your hand down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now tilt your hand back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I should mention when you do these, you want to do it where you're just slightly straining. You don't want to do it till it hurts. Now let's do the other arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then tilt your hand out straight and your hand down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now bring your hand toward you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now suck in your stomach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And keep breathing. And the reason I say that is because often when people are concentrating on something, you don't realize it, but you're holding your breath. So to get a little bit more energy, sometimes you just breathe in and just kind of exhale like that and then keep going. Remember to breathe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the next one, when I do this with kids, pandemonium erupts.
They laugh, laugh, laugh.
But clench your buttocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I know all you seniors didn't laugh when I did that. So next is tense up your thigh muscles on your right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tense up your calf muscle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend your leg out straight and tilt your foot forward away from you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Now tilt your foot back toward your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Now go to your left leg. Tense up your thigh muscle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now tense up your calf muscle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now straighten your leg and tilt your foot out from you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then tilt your foot back toward your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now just take a minute and just kind of let your whole body relax and sag. We're going to do that for a count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's progressive muscle relaxation. And what it does is when you tense those muscles and then you relax, it actually causes the whole body to relax if you do the whole series. It can reduce tension. Again, when you're doing it, it's a mindfulness exercise because you're concentrating on your body and how it feels. And you're not really thinking about anything else.
That's right. You're thinking about your body rather than your thoughts. So you're teaching your mind what you want it to focus on, training your mind. So that's very, very important. I often tell people to do progressive muscle relaxation. We often just say PMR. If you hear that term, that's what it is, PMR. And I tell people to do that in bed. They can do that in bed. It's a really good thing because you can do it lying down, and again, you're squeezing your face, you're squeezing right all the way down to the tips of your toes. And by the time you've done that, you've warmed up all your muscles so that they can relax. Because again, if I'm trying to relax my hand here, I can try to relax it, somewhat relaxed. But if I go like this, and I let it go, and I go like this, and I let it go, now I've warmed up those muscles, and so now, ooh, I can feel it, like tingling. It's much more relaxed, and that's what PMR is. Very effective.
And sometimes you can do a quick version where you just relax the muscles, same muscles, and instead of tensing, you just kind of relax your face, and then you work through the whole body. That's a kind of a quick method, but it's real similar to people who exercise a lot. Exercise is great for stress too.
For sure.
Is when you're done exercising and you sit down, often it's just really relaxing when the body's just recovering from all that exercise.
And we often don't realize, even if you have an office sitting job or whatever, that you hold tension often in your face. And so, people do, they hold it in their jaw sometimes, they hold it in their neck. And so when you squeeze your face, even though that looks like you're on a crazy train, right, it really is very cool, because sometimes you realize, wow, I guess there was a lot of tension there and I didn't realize that. I was kind of tightening my face. Yeah. It's good stuff.
And I know another technique that Nancy does, probably a little more than I do, is tapping. So you want to explain that?
Yeah, so tapping, we know that rhythms really help with the body. And if you're brushing a horse, if you're petting a dog, if you're playing the drums, okay, your brain will follow in a couple of minutes. So if you're trying to go to bed at night, you can literally start like this, and you want to do both right and left brain. So you don't want to always, do like this or on one leg. You'd rather, go like this. And if you can have kind of a something a little bit fast, and then you start to slow down the pattern, then pretty soon your brain is going to follow. And that's what, happens, and it kind of slows you down and gets you ready for bed. So rhythms are something that are very soothing and calming. In fact, a lot of people do these adult coloring books right now. And when you're doing something really detailed like that, it's actually very good for anxiety patients. It can calm them down because it's part of mindfulness, right? I'm just looking at this little tiny space and coloring this. I'm just concentrating on this. Now, but what is more relaxing in general for people is usually painting. Why? Because of the stroke of a paintbrush is different than using colored pencil like this, right? All right, so rhythm, relaxation, all has to do with how our body moves, why music is so effective, dancing is so effective. So going along with that, a lot of you have maybe had acupressure or acupuncture done, okay? And you can get to all of the acupressure or acupuncture points actually through where it would come out, we would say, which is your hands and your feet, okay? So where these lines of energy, some people say like a flow of chi, that sort of thing, where they cross, it's called a meridian. So instead of doing acupressure all over your body, we can really do it very simply where the meridians cross. Okay, so this is just in general kind of what it is a lot of times in tapping, and there's different types of tapping, but this tapping, someone will start with a setup statement, and you're going to do it right here, kind of like a karate chop. You can actually do this, or you can actually do this, okay? And then you start doing this routine, which is the first one is the very top of your head, right, kind of in your hairline. And I'm going to take off my glasses here. And the next one is right here where your eyebrow starts, right here. And again, you're just tapping lightly so you can feel it. You're not banging, hurting yourself, okay? And then right here at the corner of your eye is the next one. And then right below your pupil would be the next one. And right underneath your nose, and the crease in your chin, and right here in your collarbone, and then right here underneath your arm, right underneath your armpit. For a woman, it'd probably be where the bottom of your bra is, right? For men,
I don't know. I've never worn one, so I don't know.
I don't know. I think a Seinfeld was going to make a brosier or bra subs for some people, but so it'd be about right here, and then you're going to go to the top of your head again. Okay, so what does that do again? You are saying a setup statement of how you're upset. So you might say, I am so upset right now. Now people are like, why do you want to do that, Nancy? You're reinforcing your negativity. No, I'm not. What I'm doing is I am admitting to myself what I have trapped in my head that is giving me stress, anxiety, fear, whatever it is. I'm letting it out. It's not about, stating it's saying this is the reality and I need to get this out, okay? And then once you get it out, then you can change it to something more calm, right? All right, so you can just follow me and I'll just make something up here and do something in general, okay? So your setup statement again would be what the problem is. Man, I am so stressed out today, Pete. I feel like I'm not going to be able to handle anything. I am really overwhelmed. Now you're going to keep doing that, right? I'm very overwhelmed. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I'm really, really upset today. And as I'm really upset, I'm starting to think about a phone conversation that I had last night. That phone conversation, that person, I am really angry at the judgment. Maybe that's what I'm feeling right now. And then sometimes people will just pick a word then, because you've kind of admitted that you're overwhelmed, you're not doing well today, but it actually goes back to judgment. So maybe you would just say judgment. Judgment. I feel so judged. This concerns me. I don't know if I can calm down today. And then you can, now that you've got that, and you do that until you feel a little bit more calm, like you've kind of got it out. And it's a way for you to put on your own detective investigator hat, because once we start admitting how we feel, and I don't care if it's I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I don't care what it is, somebody's going to leave me, whatever it is. If you keep on talking about it, just allow yourself to have that time. What happens is you start to peel the layers, and then you can sometimes really get to the root of the problem. So when I first started, it was just like, I am overwhelmed, I'm really stressed today, Pete. And then all of a sudden, it's turning into, I guess it's that I felt judged by that person on the phone last night. It's still upsetting me. So I'm carrying yesterday's problems into today, and I need to get those out. So once they're out and you feel a little bit more settled, then what you do is you start replacing it, again, being realistic. So I might say, yeah, I guess it is. Whew. It's about that judgment. Even though I felt really judged and I can't control other people, what if I could choose to still be calm in my body? Although I'm so angry and upset that I was judged, I would like to be calm and let it go. And then you just keep going until you can literally feel that your blood pressure has calmed down. So typically people do like about 5 rounds of going through all of that. And again, this would be your setup statement of how I feel. And then you start going around just talking about, there's no right or wrong, but this is why it's important. And I had a training that wasn't from a counselor that I had watched last year, and it was actually from a person that was like a brain scientist. And I was really happy with what she said, because it goes along with everything that we teach with anxiety and warding off panic attacks and dealing with stress and trying to flip that switch out of the fight or flight to the calm again. And what she said is that you have to name it, right? So when you're naming it and you're getting to judgment, what happens is it flips the switch. And so your fight or flight, getting ready for something, says, your brain part says, oh, I know what that is. That's judgment. And so it flips the switch off. It says, I know this, I can handle it. And it puts it to the dictionary part of your brain, and it shuts off that unnecessary adrenaline. Now, some of it is adrenaline, some of it is maybe cortisol, which we know is something that is spit out in our body under stress. Now, for a short period of time, cortisol is fine. It can help us really get focused for a test. It's really good focus. But Long-term cortisol is very bad because that's when we see people with chronic stress. And not only does chronic stress affect your mental health, but unfortunately, it can also affect your physical health and your internal organs.
Definitely. And hobbies are really good too for mindfulness. I know I put together model planes and tanks and ships. And when I'm doing that hobby, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm thinking, how am I going to glue this part together? Do I have the right part? Then the same way with painting. I just love painting models with my airbrush. So one thing I do with some of my clients is I teach them how to play chess. And it's really, I do twofold things. One is when you're playing chess, you're usually not thinking about anything else.
Yeah, your head's in the game.
Yeah,
right?
Your head's in the game. And I'll have clients tell me all the time, man, I didn't think about anything else while we were playing chess. The only trouble is I teach these people how to play chess, and they always get better than me.
They beat you, yeah.
But also what it does, I use it to teach strategies about life in general, like how do you get from point A to point B? What are the steps? Same way, it's like moving the chess piece. You want to get my king, how are you going to move your knight to get in a position to take my queen or put me in check? So something else that could help people relax are petting animals. Cats in particular, they found petting a cat when they purr puts out a frequency that calms people down.
Yeah.
And we have a cat that people can pet.
This is, we have a cat, see, unfortunately.
Yeah, or that might be my German Shepherd.
It could be, yeah, either one. We have a cat at the office.
But we also had a therapy dog. We worked at a prison ministry one time, and we had a dog named Carrie. We had another one, Rocket, but Carrie in particular was really attuned when the guys would get upset. There'd be times they would be really upset about something, and Carrie would come over and kind of nose them. They like, Carrie, stop. Well, she wanted. Eventually, they start petting her, and they would calm down. And we could have talked to them for hours and not got them down. But this dog was so sweet and so caring. She was like an angel on earth. So animals like that can really help. And something else I want to talk about is, as you can, how appropriate. I want to talk about technology a little bit.
Ding, ding.
I recently got a smartwatch. And, you know, it had an exercise program built into it. Like, if you stand, it goes around. There's a circle, and you complete the circle. And the same thing has calories and exercising. Well, I thought, I'm never going to use that. But I noticed that I would stand up. Like yesterday, I was standing up a lot. And I got a reward because it went all the way around. And what it is, once I get that, I can go to another shape. So people will do stuff like that in order to get even a little prize. Like I thought, I never worry about if I get a different circle, but it's like, wow. And the neat thing is also periodically through the day, it will tell me to breathe. And it has like a little symbol, and it goes 7 times, and it expands to breathe in, and then it shrinks to breathe out. And I think I did that like 7 times yesterday, even when I was really busy. Also, you can get like something called breath paces. There's tons of free apps that you can get and set to breathe. Like mine, it's a flower, and it kind of, sunflower, and it goes around to inhale, it goes around to hold, and then it goes around to exhale, and you can set the speeds. There's also binaural beats. That's something else that we do with biofeedback. It's called something called binaural beats, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but you can download those on your phone, but you really need earphones because it relies on both earphones. And what it does is, like my machine, it starts you at 18 hertz, and then it takes you down to 6 hertz. Why 6 hertz is important is because when you're relaxed in the alpha state, your brain gives off 6 hertz. So it basically, and it's this kind of weird, kind of sci-fi thing. But what, again, you have people focus on the sound, try to eliminate thoughts. And it's kind of hard because, you know, we're humans. Thoughts always come in. But that's something. We also have light
It's
therapy.
again, I would just stop for one second, just with the binaural beats, that again, we won't go into detail, but it is a way to get to a state of relaxation faster than not listening to it. And again, this is just brain science here. So you have a certain decibel or hertz, right? A certain sound, right? It's at a certain sound. In addition, it's so many beats per minute. And so what it's doing is it's really stimulating. That sound is stimulating and sending a vibration, because sound, music is vibration, to different areas of your brain to help you calm down even faster. And we have that on our biofeedback machine, like Pete does. He works with a lot of clients with binaural beats. It's great. There was a Harvard study. I know I did a Facebook Live on work one time, workplace stuff, and there was a Harvard study that really encouraged people in the workplace to start their day with binaural beats, or to do that, like you said, during the day. If you're doing notes, you're doing typing, whatever, you can listen to them. Even if you're retired, that's a great thing that you can get, is some really, they have nice, big soft headphones again too, instead of just the little earbuds now. And you can listen to binaural beats even if you don't have a smartphone or an app. If you have a computer, again, you can also download the free app that's Spotify. And Spotify has wonderful binaural beats for sleep, for work, for study, for relaxation. I often use them at work.
And then we also have light therapy glasses, which
Very
they look like kind of sunglasses, but they have little strobe lights built into them. And depending on the frequency, it can either relax you or it can get you ready to take a test or for sporting events. And it's kind of neat. It's kind of almost overwhelming at first, but once you get into it, you see different shapes. Now, I'm colorblind. I don't see the colors, but it's still kind of neat. If you have seizures, though, you do not want to do this.
Right, you don't want to do it. But if you don't have seizures, it's great. It really relaxes me. You can put them on, and it's almost like looking at this beautiful psychedelic light show. But what is interesting is your eyelids are closed and you're still seeing this beautiful light. It's almost like those little kaleidoscopes that we had when we were kids, and we turn around, but even better, right? Even better. So it's pretty amazing stuff. Again, it's all just about science and the power of the brain.
And there's also Headspace. Isn't that another one?
Headspace is a great one. They have a free version, and you get 10 10-minute sessions to learn how to meditate. And you never have to buy the full version. You can keep that on your phone, and then you can go back over it again and again. Now, for those of you that, again, don't have smartphones, if you have computers, what is nice is Headspace is also available on the computer. Now, there are many apps that are just phone apps, and if you go to the website, you are not going to be able to play those on the computer, but Headspace is an exception. It's one of the largest, and I think the best, app out there. We pay for the full version because we use it with clients. When Pete was saying that there was apps about breathing, they have that. You can start every day. They have a different one. Sometimes it's sun, like going, breathe in and breathe out, like you said. Sometimes there's a little fat cat, and you're watching, he's going zzz, and he's sleeping, and you see his tummy go up and down, you're following. They also have a flower, they have waves, all sorts of things. Guided meditation, sleep casts, sleep sounds, wonderful sleep stories. There's a Midnight Laundrette is mine that I really like to listen to, this Midnight Laundrette. And you can choose even the person's voice. So when Pete said that a lot of his clients, his female clients, like a certain
British
what
guy.
Was it, British guy?
Yeah, Rick Clark.
They've got a British guy, they've got an Australian guy, they've got all sorts of females with different accents, and so often they record some of the same things, and so you can choose which person that you want to use. But it's amazing. Headspace now has exercise tips. They have lots of little cute cartoon videos that talk to you about learning the techniques of mindfulness and meditation and why it's so important. So I highly recommend that. Now, if you don't want to download the Headspace app, what you can also do is if you have Netflix, then type in Headspace, just like you were typing in to search for a movie, and they now have a whole sleep series that they have offered through Netflix. And lastly, with Headspace, you can go on YouTube, and they have lots of free meditation on there without even having the app that you can listen to if you'd like to try it out. Last year and a half ago, they also teamed up with Sesame Street to do even meditation for kids that starts as low as 2 to 5 minutes at a time. It's really amazing stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we talked a little bit about exercise. Exercise is a great way to reduce stress and do mindfulness. But the thing is, you don't have to go run a marathon. Mm-hmm. This watch, every hour, it'll tell me to stand up for a minute and walk around. Mm-hmm. And they've shown that as little as 10 minutes a day, if you just get up and walk. I don't know how you do it, but she has a desk that she stands, that she works at her workstation standing up. All that, again, reduces stress and helps the body out and can calm you. And the thing with a lot of these things, people make the mistake, like with exercising, they think, oh, I'm going to buy all this equipment and I'm going to do all these exercises. And often that's overwhelming, and it's best to start small. I know after I had an operation on my leg, I really wanted to walk more, and I've got a young German Shepherd. So I could only walk her maybe a quarter of a mile to start with. So I thought, I'm just going to walk this down to this post. I measured it, down the street for me and back. And I did that for like a month. And then finally I thought, well, now I know where I measured everything. So I started doing half mile and back. And then eventually I worked myself up to 2 miles with my dog.
That's great.
And I think it's important when you start things like this, don't overwhelm yourself in the beginning, because I think that's why people kind of give up. Like most people buy all this exercise equipment and they sell it within a year. They stop using it. And you don't really, need that. And reading's also great. I know I'm an avid reader, and when I'm reading, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm in that story like I'm living it. And I always get sad when I have a really good book. It's like, oh no, I'll never find another book. I always do.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting things. I know you brought something in today which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I just had a couple of things about the feel-good hormones that can reduce stress, and some of the top ones are dopamine. It's a feel-good hormone. It gives us pleasurable sensations. It helps with learning and memory. So that's another reason that we want our body to produce that, and our motor systems. Serotonin is another big one. It helps to regulate our mood, regulate our sleep, our appetite, our digestion, learning, and our ability to have memory. Oxytocin is another one maybe you've heard of. It's known as the love cuddle hormone, oxytocin, and it's bonding, trust, empathy, and sex. And oxytocin, it can also come about through hugs, or if we're going back to acupressure points. Again, you can hit all of your acupressure points in your hands and in your feet. And so one thing that you can do is you can do this, and you squeeze, and you're hitting lots of acupressure points, very good for all parts of your body. And that is spitting out that love, cuddle hormone. So you're giving yourself a hug. So you can do it like this, or you can do it like this. Sometimes you see people start yoga and they'll go like this, right? The same thing, getting everything warmed up, all those acupressure points. It might also explain that when you if you really pray, why you feel better, right? It's giving yourself a hug and producing really good hormones. Another one is endorphins, and why we need endorphins. And Pete works a a lot with pain management, chronic pain, and it's because that is a natural painkiller, right? A natural painkiller. It also helps us with eating, working, and other pleasurable activities. So this is a quick list of things that you can do for yourself to lower your stress, to help to produce these types of hormones that you want in your life. 1, give or get a hug, right? And again, you can give one to yourself, or you can give one or get one to someone else. It releases a neurotransmitter, oxytocin, that calms down your amygdala, which is a little kind of nut shaped part in your brain. All right, number 2 is get out in the sun. We do light therapy, like he said, with goggles. That's a little bit different than regular traditional box light therapy. We do that also, especially for seasonal affective disorder. Most people think that that's only in the winter, but Pete has discussed that that's actually not true on a Facebook Live that we did, that sometimes people have seasonal affective disorder even in the spring, right?
Yeah, late spring, early summer.
Yeah, so light boxes, but you want to research it to get medical grade. You can get those right on Amazon, and we have clients that sometimes spend the last part of their session reading in front of it, or we'll have it on during the whole session if they don't mind the light. But getting out in natural sun, even if you can just pull back your curtains when you're going to get that morning sun, or when the sun is just coming down, to set, have a cup of tea, a coffee by the window on a daily basis, even 15 minutes can really help. It boosts that production of serotonin in our brain. Number 3 is put your feelings on paper, because again, that has to do with lowering amygdala activity to help calm you, putting your feelings on paper. Number 4, remember some happy memories, like we talked about reminiscence therapy. Remember some happy memories because it boosts your serotonin levels. Number 5, splash cold water on your face. Believe it or not, it slows down your heart. So if you're upset and your heart is racing, you can, and it says specifically you want it to be on your eyelids, even though your eyelids are closed. It indirectly stimulates that big vagus nerve that Pete was discussing earlier in the session. Number 6 is smile. And I like to tell people that there are actually studies on this too. And so when he was saying smile or frown when we were doing the PMR, they had people that tested how they felt, rated how they felt as far as happy or sad. And then they went into separate rooms. And some people were doing an activity, holding something in their mouth that made them smile. They weren't told to smile, so they didn't know what the gist of it was. And then some people had to hold an object in their mouth that would make them frown. And then they had them again test their mood when they left. And believe it or not, the people that were making the happy face did feel better, and the people that had the unhappy face that had a frown in there, they either felt worse or just no change at all. So it is, again, amazing. So smile. When you smile, you help yourself, and you might be helping someone else to smile too. Number 7, laugh. Laughter is good medicine.
Oh, yeah.
We know that. That's why they use those in cancer treatment centers for America. Laugh, clowns, whatever they do. Number 8, be around other people. You don't have to interact with them. When people are lonely, I often tell them, why don't you just go to the mall? Why don't you go to a park? And they're like, no, I would probably see other people, couples, and lottie dots gonna make me so sad. And I say, actually, I challenge you to go do it, because again, it's just like the reminiscence therapy. We don't want to talk to grandpa about something he can't do anymore because he'll be sad. That's not true. And taking someone that's lonely and putting them in a crowd, even if they're not talking to people, you think they're going to be sad and lonely. It's not true. It's just seeing the activity and the interaction and feeling like you're a part of something, even if you're not directly talking to them. Having that energy and that life often brings energy and life to other people. So be around other people. Don't isolate in your room, right? If you're in assisted living, I encourage you to stop isolating in your room, right? Especially with COVID lifting up at some of the places now. I was just talking to a client yesterday. You can eat in the dining room often now. Instead of bringing the food to your room, choose to go to the dining room. All right. Number 9 is spend time with a pet, which we've talked about. Why? Because it's proven to increase your oxytocin, your endorphins, and your dopamine, which will help you if you have chronic pain. And number 10 is diaphragmatic breathing. It lowers your heart rate and activities. It calms you. It flips on that parasympathetic nervous system to get you out of the fight or flight. So those are the top 10 things. And did you want to say anything about that breathing, diaphragmatic breathing? There are some great videos on YouTube.
Yeah, because you really want to breathe in deeply, because that really gets the oxygen into your system. Most Americans are over-breathers. Westerners, we breathe like 12 to 14 times a minute. And really, you should be around 6, 7, 8. So that diaphragmatic breathing helps get you where you, again, have that saturation of CO2 and oxygen. And a lot of times when people breathe to help them focus, I'll say, feel your stomach expand, and when you exhale, feel it go in, although some people are reverse breathers. I had one person that was really weird to watch her breathe.
I bet.
But, so these are just some techniques that we teach clients. We used to go out to assisted living and we would do groups and things like that. And I know for me personally, since I've been involved in biofeedback and mindfulness, I feel pretty good for the most part. I mean, I'll have times when I am in pain and stuff, but my mental well-being, despite the pain, is just so good that it really helps me get through the day. And I'd really recommend that you try these techniques. You can find them online. You could always contact either us or family service, and maybe once this pandemic gets over, we'll do some groups. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Another really great little app that some people like is called Calm. It's similar to Headspace to learn how to meditate. And another one that isn't as popular, but I really like it, that is about mindfulness, and it is totally free. It's called The Smiling Mind. And it's really wonderful. It has some things that you listen to. It has some things that maybe you're going to write a gratitude list today, little activities that you can do, different segments or series within that little app too. So there's a lot out there. And again, yes, Family Service or Healthy Thoughts Wellness Center, we would love to talk to you more, hook you up with some other apps and things that you can find for free if you don't want to come in.
Yeah, and kind of to end it, something funny is I will get so carried away when I'm doing mindfulness. Suddenly my wife will say, "Are you listening to me?" And I'm thinking, that's a strange way to start a conversation. But I'm just so focused, I tune everything out. So
yes.
Anyway.
Men have a better ability to do that, I think, than women.
True.
They're not as cross-wired up here. But yeah, they can really have that single focus and push everything out. And that's what's great about the guided meditation, because unless you're a Buddhist monk and you've studied for many, many years, for you to empty your mind, it's very difficult for a beginner. But if I can just shift my mind to focus on someone else that's talking, then naturally kind of things float out of my mind. And so it's a great way to start. And again, in this busyness of the society, take a breath, slow down, do a little bit of mindfulness and meditation, make it a habit, a healthy habit that can change your life.
Man, I've really enjoyed being able to present this today.
Yeah, we're wonderful. We just really love wonderful opportunities like this that we have to share knowledge with people. We have a lot of senior citizen, I have a lot of senior citizen clients right now, and I often talk to them about what you were saying with your phone. If you have a chime on a clock every hour on the hour, that's great. If not, do it on your phone. So just every hour, make sure that you're rolling your shoulders, or you're going to stand up and sit down. Just that movement to increase your circulation and keep your muscles moving really helps you to not get so stiff and it be so painful to get up. Time kind of flies if we don't have a reminder. So use your phone, use your clock. Again, we hope that you're going to have a healthy habit. That's our goal for you, is to have a healthy habit that you start this week. All right, thanks so much. We hope you all have a wonderful day.
Hello, I am Michelle Roberts. I am the Program Director of the Occupational Therapy Assistant Program at Parkland College. And I'm excited to be here today to introduce you to CUI's exercise. And what this is just a couple little exercises you can do from a seated position. And we're going to work on breath and some stretches. So sit back in your chair, your back against the chair, feet flat on the floor. And I'm going to have you take your arms out. Your arms are like your wings of the owl. The owl is part of our logo. So your wings of the owl, you're going to bring them out to the side. And you're going to bring them up and take a deep breath in as you go up. Only go as far as you comfortably can go. No pain with this. Breathe in. Turn your palms down and breathe out. And move slowly. We're going to do that again. And you're going to breathe in peace, joy, and then let out anything negative. You're going to breathe in wisdom of the owl. And just let it all out. Then I want to have you roll your arms up, bring your arms, your wings back into a circle. Get those shoulders moving. Breathe in and out. In and out. Think about just spreading those back of your wings out. Okay. And one more. Good. And now we're just going to take another deep breath in with your wings. And breathe out. Another thing the owl does is he looks around, right? So you're going to just look around your environment to the right. Just look at what's around there. To the left. Just moving only your head as comfortably as you can. Back to center. You can look up. As long as it doesn't cause you to be dizzy, be careful with that. And look down. And come back up. And then lean your head to one side as well as comfortable. And then the other side. And that is your CUI's exercise. I hope you felt some blood moving through your arms and you got good deep breaths and you have a little peace and wisdom. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for tuning into CUI's TV. We hope you enjoyed the show. This video can be accessed anytime on youtube.com. In the YouTube search bar, type in UPTV6 and look for their microphone logo. We hope you will join us again next week for more local, engaging content designed specifically for Champaign County older adults. Take care and stay safe.